Well, I can totally understand if you are not too happy with BMW for this car, especially because they've plugged in a 1.5-liter turbo engine with 3 cylinders, producing only 156 HP of power and 230 Newton meters of torque. A lot of people try to compare it with the Virtus, the Slavia, even the Verna, and they say that this car is not a true BMW, and they're not wrong. Let me just be very clear. They have sound reason for not being perfectly happy with this car. However, not everyone who talks about this car is as educated about cars per se as you. And unfortunately in India, cars like these, be it a BMW, be it a Mercedes or an Audi, sells primarily for that image. And putting things in perspective, I figured that this actually is a bloody good car. So here is a case for the BMW 2 Series Gran Coupe and why this actually is a fantastic car for someone who wants a BMW. Well, as I talk right now, I'm addressing the majority of the people, and they want a BMW not because they'd be going around a set of twisties with their tails slapping around. No sir, not at all. They want a BMW because they want their neighbors to know that they have arrived. And no matter how much you hate me for this, but I think it's a perfectly beautiful looking BMW, and you would look nice as you get off from it. It is actually a very nice, very well proportioned coupe-like 4-door car with 4 seats, which is going to reflect very well on who you are and how well are you placed financially. Just look at that kidney grille. It is illuminated. That face is better than a lot of other BMWs that we have seen of late. That swooping roof line, it does look sporty, and this car is really well proportioned. But here is the most important thing of them all. This is the only car in its segment. The A-Class is gone, the A3 is gone, and this here, my friends, doesn't have any competition. So if you want a car from the premium German stables at this price, you really don't have any other option. All right then, let's address the elephant in the room. The 3-cylinder engine. People have a problem with the fact that this is only 1.5 liters and that it's only 3 cylinders and that the power is only 156 HP. Let me ask them this very simple question. What exactly is the cubic capacity of the Mercedes-Benz GLA's engine? What is the power output there? And more importantly, is it any quicker than this? That engine there is actually smaller than this. That's only 1.3 liters. Yes, it's a 4-cylinder engine, but the power is about the same and the torque is slightly more, but it is slower to 100 than this car. I rest my case. Also, that car is supposedly an SUV, not again a sedan, which this car is. And if you really want a proper SUV for yourself in that segment, which is a premium German car, may I very strongly recommend the Audi Q3, which has a proper engine, comes with a quattro, and has sufficient space inside for a family of 4. It genuinely is a very well priced, very nice car, and if you have not test driven it, go ahead and test drive it because it's one of my favorite cars within this segment. It's a proper SUV, but again, it's from a different segment. The starting price of the Audi Q3 is also slightly lower at 44 lakh rupees, but this car here comes loaded with features, and I personally believe that the price to features ratio on this car is quite unmatched. And very practically speaking, for the right variant, this car essentially is your entry point into the modern, current generation premium German cars that are available on the market right now. It's fantastic value for money, and there is no escaping that fact. You can look at all its rivals and the segment adjacent cars also on the screen. Honestly, what I really like about this car is that even the base variant comes with the M Sport package, and that really adds to that aggression. Just look at that front bumper, those black highlights, that flared lower part of the bumper, and this kidney grille, it's illuminated, so it announces your arrival from a distance in the night. Gets a proper 360-degree camera, really high res, beautiful LED headlights with cornering functions, really functional in the night. As you can see, there is an ADAS module, so it gets level 2 ADAS as well. And just look at the M branding across the board. M branding on these beautiful large sized 18-inch wheels, M branding on the fenders, and You also have an M projection on the floor in the night through the ORVMs, which looks absolutely fantastic. M branding on the rear wheels, and as you can see, the rear bumper also is quite aggressive. Do you see an exhaust? No, you don't, because it's concealed, and all of these details make this car look really nice. And talking still about the features, this is probably the most loaded car in this segment. Comes with a high resolution HUD, a rocking Harman Kardon system, wireless charging, panoramic sunroof, ADAS as I mentioned, beautiful ambient lighting inside, a dual zone climate control, digital key, and all of this is standard at 46 lakh rupees. What I really miss on a hot day like this is ventilated seats, and there is absolutely no escaping from that fact. But oh my god, the cabin here looks so nice, so beautiful, so well equipped, and still so simplistic. It's actually one of the nicer looking cabins, soft touch materials all around, simplistic, very minimal, and yet very functional. Well, the iDrive could actually be better, and I really hope that the people at BMW Design are working on this interface. But the system sounds fantastic, and this cabin actually looks even better, even more premium when lit in the night. Time now to address another elephant in the room, which is the back seat. And let's just see how comfortable or uncomfortable would you be with your family and friends there. You'll have to mind your head. And the headroom here is also not very generous. I am brushing my head here. The knee room is just about fine, and there is ample space for my feet as well. So you actually can sit here if you're a 5'10" or a 5'11" guy as well, but it's not a very generous space. However, if you have kids in your family or if you're a nuclear family, these two seats are perfectly usable for two people as long as they are not very tall. Another thing that I really want to mention here is that despite being a BMW, the ride quality on this car and the suspension is actually quite nice. So this rides pretty well. It's firm but comfortable. So these seats, while not the most generous, are actually usable, but there's no running away from the fact that the headroom is cramped, and while entering, you really have to be careful. However, that's a small compromise you'll make for these beautiful frameless windows. And when the doors are open, it does look like a thing of beauty. The boot is not too bad either. At 480 liters, you actually can go out with your family for a longish holiday. And unlike a lot of other BMWs, you do get a space saver spare. So you have some backup to fall back on. I would have liked a power button here, but this is all manual. Just like the outside, you have a lot of M badging on the inside on the steering wheel. The steering wheel is quite nice. It's small and chunky. I really like holding it. These pedals could probably have been metal, they're plastic, which is not a very good thing. Although you do have these M colors on the dashboard that I really like. And you also have this M branding on the door sills as well. All in all, it's really a very practical, I must say, and very premium kind of an experience for an entry-level car. Really don't have anything to complain about. Feels properly premium with that HUD and whatnot. This panoramic sunroof. You do feel like you're driving a car that is more expensive than the price tag. The one thing that I've noticed is that even while you're driving on these roads, which are like almost non-existent because we are in the rough right now, or even over bad speed breakers, this car really can manage a lot of adversity. So unlike a lot of other sedans, this one won't disappoint you if you take it out in the rough, and it can take the Indian non-existent road conditions also with aplomb. So that's another great quality. And the steering, I don't know what BMW does with their steering wheels. Every single time I get behind a BMW steering wheel, I wonder why can't other car makers replicate this. It always feels just the right weight, and oh my god, this one, despite being a front wheel drive, I don't know how they have managed to make it handle like this. And I don't know what they've done, but for a front wheel car to handle like this, it doesn't feel right, man. Sure, when you give it the beans, especially from the standstill, and you turn the steering wheel, you do feel a little bit of a torque steer. But trust me, it's as well managed as it can ever be. It feels very neutral despite having well, a reasonable amount of power at the front wheel and torque as well. But what I'm trying to say here is that the handling and the experience is there. However, what's missing is that thrust. So especially if you want to overtake with the car coming from the opposite direction, not too far away, you do feel that, well, a BMW should have gone a little bit faster. So I'm not running away from that fact, but the steering and the driving experience, especially if you're not going scorched earth, if you're not going mental with the car, I think is pretty enjoyable, especially for those who are going to buy this car as something that they want to showcase as a trophy. For anyone who understands the BMW DNA, I really believe would probably go for a BMW 3 Series for a rear wheel drive setup. But what I'm trying to say here is that for the average Joe, this is more than enough performance and it will bring a smile on his face. It is definitely a lot more enjoyable than your everyday car. The power is not all that much, and what really helps even more is that the tires have been widened and they grip the surface like a bloody leech. So very few squealing noises, very little lack of grip unless you really want to give it the beans and go crazy. You won't dream about doing this in a Verna or a Virtus or a Slavia. This is a different league, and the kind of control that you get in this car, it does not for a moment, unless you are experienced enough, let you feel that it's a front wheel drive car. It really is a very well balanced setup. Of course, it rides on the same platform as the Mini Cooper, and that really shows. What I'm trying to tell you is that yes, this is not as engaging as a 3 Series, it's not as powerful, but this still is plenty enjoyable, and the fact that it rides nicely, it's firm but comfortable, and the fuel efficiency really shines. So for someone who's buying it primarily to show off, would have his share of fun as well if he knows how to drive. Well, this isn't exactly the complete BMW experience. I drove the BMW M440i convertible just about a month ago here, and that experience was like chalk and cheese. It was nothing like this experience. That car would plaster a big, bad, wide smile on your face, and I'm still smiling thinking about that car. But having said that, for those who reject this car, saying that it's a front wheel drive, doesn't have enough power, that it's not a proper BMW, I really think that there is a market which needs to be addressed, and what BMW are trying to do here is addressing that market, which by the way happens to be a substantial chunk. They are here for business, and I really think that within that constraint they have done a pretty good job.